Hey there everyone, I'm Michael, and welcome to another video. Apologies for not doing the stream the other day. I announced it on Twitter. I'd run into a massive terminal bug that took me way longer than I expected to fix it. But I've long since fixed it, and I want to do another video on the terminal and all of the things that I have fixed and all of the things that I've added. This is no longer a dedicated brand for developing the terminal. I've merged it. I'm about to put a Steam build out too, so I'm really excited. So playtesters will be able to test out the new terminal. Anyway, I'm in Windows, but be warned, I've switched to Linux. This is a virtual machine, so things might not run as well as I would hope, particularly when streaming. Because I am a Linux user now. I have been a Linux user for over a year at this point, but I keep having to switch back and forth to Windows and Linux, but I finally got VMs working properly, so no more having to use Windows on bare metal. I hate Windows so much. Anyway, this is not a rant about Windows. I want to do the devlog, so let's go. So I've hit Control D. Everything looks the same, except all of the changes are under the hood, but also they're really useful. For one, maximizing the terminal and doing help, then neofetch, then help, then maybe some fortune piped into cowsay. You'll notice the performance is significantly better with scrolling. You know, I can scroll as much as I want, and it works. Now, two things that have made the game significantly more performant at scrolling in this build. One is I've optimized the hell out of TextMesh Pro text generation. One of the hardest things in a Unity game like this when it comes to rendering and performance, frame time and all that is TextMesh Pro. Because whenever you change text in a TextMesh Pro object, or whenever you cause a layout update in Unity, TextMesh Pro has to recalculate the mesh. It has to regenerate the text mesh, and it has to parse markup, and it has to recalculate layout. This is slow. You don't want to be doing it every frame, and you do not want to be doing it with a lot of text. And you especially don't want to be doing it with a lot of text every frame. So I've optimized the amount of text changes that have to occur when rendering the terminal, and that has added a significant amount of performance and decreased frame time a lot. I've also increased the terminal buffer size. The terminal buffer size basically determines how much of text it can read from the in-game terminal emulation, the pseudo-terminal emulation, which is some technical stuff. I will probably explain it in a future video of what pseudo-terminals are and what they mean and how important they are to the game. Either way, the buffer size has been increased from 1 kilobyte to 8 kilobytes, so it can move 8 kilobytes per frame from the pseudo-terminal into the display. So that doesn't actually necessarily make things faster, it just makes things appear faster, because instead of having it draw line by line whenever you type a command and it has to scroll, the command just flows in instantly, because chances are the command will not be outputting any more than 8 kilobytes of data to the terminal buffer, but it might output way more than 1 kilobyte, so it effectively looks like it's running faster, even though it's technically not. It's just reading more at once. So hopefully that doesn't confuse you guys, but yeah, either way you can see it. It's faster, like a lot faster. Now, if we look at neofetch, it doesn't actually say it's faster. We're running at 43 frames per second, but keep in mind that this is a hacking game, first of all, so, you know, anything above 30 frames is honestly fine, unless I start doing animations, which I'm not doing yet. But this is actually inaccurate, because it's recording the frame rate at the time of neofetch running. And at the time of neofetch running, it's doing a lot of this text processing stuff that does dip the frame rate while it's doing that text processing, but it does immediately jump back up. So it's more of a frame drop that NeoFetch is showing. And I'm trying my best to get it to be a lot better. Even now, it's quite fast, but it does have that little spike when it does process everything. So I'm looking into that, but it's not a high priority thing, because like I said, it's a hacking game. It doesn't need to run at 75 hertz, 240 hertz, whatever. You need to see what you're doing, basically. And right now you can. I fixed a memory corruption bug as well, particularly on Linux and on Windows as well. It's just that I didn't notice it on Windows until I started doing stuff in Linux that fixed other bugs with line endings. And then running NeoFetch while scrolling caused a little bit of a bug. I don't know if I've showed it. Maybe I noticed it in a previous video and just didn't really concern myself with it, but if you look at the pandemic at the bottom of it here, note that there are no extra characters here. There are none. There's just the actual ASCII art. There was a bug that caused some memory corruption to occur, whereby there would be some extra characters just floating here, and if you clear the screen, they would not go away. That has been fixed. You clear the screen, everything goes away because there are no memory corruption bugs. Now, it's bad that I actually cleared the screen because I have to run a bunch of commands again. But instead of doing that in a maximized terminal, I will do it in a restored terminal. And I'm going to run help, and I'm going to run NeoFetch. And if I hit page up, what do you think is going to happen? Is it going to beep at me? Is it going to do nothing? No. It's going to bug out. Okay. I don't know what happened there. That is not how that's supposed to work. Alright, page up is... Actually, no. It is doing exactly what it's meant to do, kinda, sort of. With page up and page down. It's scrolling through text that we've cleared. But the point being, you can scroll now. It works. Now, there is a problem with that. With page up and page down. It's not actually supposed to work like that, as far as how I want it to work. That's how Simple Terminal works, but it's not how I want it to work. How I want it to work is the way it works right now, where you scroll up a page, and if you can't make it all the way, then it just goes as far as it can. But there's a bug in the way I ported over the Simple Terminal scrollback code, and I need to fix that. There's also a little bug with the cursor. It's not supposed to render at the bottom of the screen. It is when it's scrolled down like this, you know, when the hell prompt is there. But when I hit page up, it's not supposed to show. It's supposed to follow the text. I have a fix for that. It's going to involve completely rewriting the way the cursor shows, so don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. But also, that's not the only thing I've done for scrolling. I've added mouse scrolling too. It works in much the same way, except it's a lot less buggy. So if I do a clear, I'm scrolling up right now, you cannot see it. I'm not scrolling up as far as the terminal is concerned because there's nowhere for it to go. But if I start running a lot of stuff... Yeah, kind of like that. If I start to scroll up, you will see it actually start to work. You can see the commands that I've run previously. Now again, the cursor is still doing the silly thing where it's rendering at the wrong place, but that's same bug as with page scrolling. Now, there's another bug fix. I have a lot of stuff in this scrollback buffer. You know, you can see it. But, what happens if I maximize the window? Well, in the older builds, if you maximize the window, it would just kind of delete everything above where the window is. So, you know, above where NeoFetch is right now, you won't be able to see it. You can't see it right now, so when you maximize the window, it would just kind of move the current display into the new window and remove everything else that you can't see. even though there's enough room for it to start scrolling down and bringing all of the scroll back into view, which is what it does now. If I hit Control Up on the arrow keys, maximize the window, you can see that it reflows all the history into view, because there's more room for it to display. And so I can actually see the entirety of my terminal, because... actually, no, it has not... Okay, there was a little bug. I know what happened there. I cannot see the entirety of my terminal. What happened there is it's not sending scroll events and stuff to the actual terminal if your mouse is outside of the text bounds. So, you know, you can see the longest line is about Neofetch. If I move my cursor beyond the longest line, I can no longer do anything with text and stuff like that because my mouse is outside the bounds of the text area. That's another bug I have to fix. It's not that hard to fix, though. I just have to forward events from the parent window into the terminal window. Or not terminal window, but terminal display. You know what I mean. However, I have something else to show you guys that you're going to really love. Because up to this point, I've been showing you guys features that were in the old terminal. You know, the one before I started porting the Suckless terminal. But now, not only do we have ANSI escape sequences, which is a lot better. You know, that's how those color bars and everything are showing and how the line editor works. But we also have text selection. So if I go ahead and grab from this little tilde here and start to drag my way down the Neofetch to the next command I ran, that text is now selected. You can see it. And if I right click, it gets rid of the selection. But then, if I go into Notepad on Windows and hit a little bit of the old Control-V, you can see the text that I copied. Save for the color bars from Neofetch. The reason those aren't there is because Notepad obviously doesn't support ANSI escape sequences, and most applications you're going to paste into don't. So the game actually doesn't copy any of the color data or anything along with the text. It just copies the text. And I think that's okay. That's kind of how all terminals do it, if I recall correctly. Imagine copying output from a... imagine copying a link from a terminal, and it's got the blue text and the bold and the underline to tell you it's a link, but then you paste it into a web browser and, you know, it's got the ANSI escape sequences in there. You don't want that. Or a Word document, it's got the terminal formatting. You don't want that, so I figured, you know. Most of the time you're going to be copying things into the terminal and, you know, pasting from other places, or if you are pasting from the terminal into other places, you want it in plain text anyway, so that's how I'm copying it. Now, this goes both ways, because yes, I have copying working, but let's say that someone is writing a socially distant manual. They're telling you how to do a certain mission. You know, they're writing a walkthrough, and they give you a little command snippet to run to complete a hack. You know, I don't know. Let's just think of something. Let's say nmap. And then, you know, ping stuffandstitch.com. That's probably not going to work, but that is actually a website in the game. You know, we're going to take these two commands, and we've copied them from Notepad. If I hit right-click with nothing selected, it tried to run both the commands, but it didn't actually work out well. I'm not sure what happened there, but... Alright, so it's a bug with the line editor, actually. It did get both lines, but what happened was the end of the string did not have a new line at the end of it. So the line editor had no idea how to handle that. So, but, you know, we can ping it, and it works. And And it's not meant to paste entire scripts into the line editor, honestly. Don't do that. That's weird. It's an experimental feature, I'll just put it that way, but I might try to fix it. There is no hell scripting in the game, though, yet. So that wouldn't even... Don't even try. Just don't. Don't. As a programmer, I don't feel like doing that. Anyway. Yeah. So you can see the terminal starting to come together in terms of functionality. You know, we can scroll, and we can even better, if it has stuff to reflow into the maximized window, it does the same in reverse. So, you know, all of that text we could see above we can't see it anymore, but we can still scroll up to it. It's still there. So this is how most terminals are supposed to behave, and it's a lot more performant, it's a lot more fun to work with as a programmer, because I can do all sorts of cool ANSI escape sequences and stuff like that, and I'm excited. Anyway, that's all I wanted to show you guys. There is this little bug where the line editor kind of forgets where to place the cursor and what to clear and all that stuff. The line editor is separate from the terminal, so there's that, but anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you to Potato Farm, Tobias, Inky Dink, for supporting me on Patreon. I kind of forgot how many patrons I had for a sec. I had to remember. I apologize for the stuttering, but either way, you guys are awesome. It really, really helps me out with development. I get to use... I use the Patreon money for keeping the website up, and, you know, if I ever need to hire a graphic designer or stuff like that, that's helpful as well. You guys have no idea how much help that is. So if you want to support me, feel free to. There's a link in the video's description. I do post occasional private devlogs and stuff like that on there. Like, I might do one on how... I don't know. I'll think of something. But either way, as always, I've been Michael. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Hope you're excited for the terminal to be feature complete at this point. And as always, I've been Michael. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And yes, I promise there will be a dev stream next week. For real. Everything's working. I'm not going to be doing anything that involves massive bugs, and so, yeah. I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching.